It's the first time Bella's been on the property with the four-wheeler. I'm not real convinced she won't try to dart out in front of him, but he's very aware of her, so nothing to worry about. Too many smells to listen to her dad. Oh, too many smells.
You ready to spread?
Nope.
Where you been? Goofing off?
No, I've been socializing with your family.
Really?
Yep.
Well, apparently Deb started a video and didn't tell me about it. So what's this video going to be about, Deb, since you started it?
Oh, I don't know. I just record things. And then I magically put them together and make them into something. So who knows?
Thanks for clicking and welcome back to our channel. If you're new to our channel, my name's Brad.
I'm Deb.
And what are we doing out here, Deb, in general? Not specifically today, but what are we doing in general out here with our property?
Well, in general, we've got our 20 acres in Northwest Florida, and we are prepping and rehabbing it to be our retirement home. So we do everything from tractoring to excavating, digging, building, running dogs, a little bit of everything.
Today's video is going to be number 3 in our Shed Talk series, and we're not going to be in the shed again. One of these Shed Talk series will actually be in the shed. It's number 3 because Miss Piney Grove here actually snuck in a number 2 when she interviewed my dad. So if you missed that, he's got some good stories from the 40s that we've posted. Go back and check that one out. And I think there's going to be more coming, right? I think he felt comfortable on camera. So he's an interesting man. He's done a lot in his life, and we hate to lose those stories.
Absolutely.
And then I guess the final part, or another part of this video, is this is the holidays, and this will be our Merry Christmas, Happy New Year video. So Merry Christmas to our watchers out there. Anything you want to say to them, Deb?
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We hope you and your family have a blessed and wonderful season.
But I'm going to jump on this four-wheeler here. We've got a 1 acre food plot back here. I've already spread 2 bags of fertilizer. I got 100 more pounds to spread. So Deb's going to walk Bella around the property, and then we're going to kind of pick up where we left off. I think we left off, Deb was riding her bicycle under street lights, and I was getting ready to enter the military. So I think we're going to pick up from there and then talk about that for a little while. All right, guys, picking up where we left off. So in an earlier video, I mentioned that I grew up on a 200 acre farm in Virginia, and then I joined the military. And one thing that's interesting about YouTube and me watching that video that we made, our Shed Talk number 1, is that Deb actually mentioned in that video, and we actually talked about it that night or after she edited it, that I never gave much thought to the fact that Deb didn't grow up in any sort of environment like I did. Like, I grew up on a farm, and all we did was work. And it wasn't slave labor or anything like that, but we had to work to survive. We were basically poor, and I couldn't tell you the income that we had, but it was pitiful. And Deb grew up just differently. She certainly didn't grow up rich. She grew up in middle class type environment. And so I guess the way that you're raised, and I'm not necessarily talking about how your parents raised you, but just the environment that you're raised in, you just cling on to those things. And I guess I didn't realize that until we were watching the video, and we just come from way different backgrounds. We've known each other for 16 years or so. How many years,
like
babe?
18.
18 years, 16, 15, right? It's double digits. It's a long time. But we didn't grow up together. We didn't grow up in the same neighborhood. We didn't have the same friends. And we don't know a lot about each other from 0 to when we met in our 30s. So watching that video and listening to her talk, and then kind of talking about myself, just never gave it a lot of thought, right? We're out here together in the country, 20 acres here that we're going to farm. We're going to do a lot of different things with, but she's never done any of that. And I just never gave it any thought. I was like, oh, well, she wants some land in the country. She wants animals. She never had animals. I've had animals. We've had animals.
Well, farm animals.
Yeah, farm animals. But she wants farm animals as well. But she doesn't want to treat them as farm animals, because in a true homestead, you're going to raise farm animals and sell them or eat them. And that's not her idea of a farm animal at all. So it was just interesting that it took YouTube in 18 years for me to come to that realization, just kind of how different we are. I mean, we're very compatible, obviously. We've made it 18 years together, and we're probably going to make it all the way to the end. But it was just interesting that...
You said probably.
Well,
You said we're probably going to
probably, maybe.
Probably
Maybe not. I don't know. There's a lot of years left. But so anyway, I just wanted to throw that tidbit out there, not just about YouTube, and that it's making us learn about each other, but just, you know, people from different backgrounds can be compatible and do things. But it's let me realize that when I jump on a tractor and I just start doing work, you know, to me, a tractor is an extension of my body, my hands, my legs, whatever. I can make a tractor do a lot of things. And when she jumps on the tractor and she hasn't had a lot of hours, I kind of expect that same thing. And you're not there yet, are you, babe?
I'm not there yet, but we're as compatible as we are different in a lot of respects besides just the way the farming thing. Brad is very good at a lot of things, and if he's not good at something, he will figure out how to do it and become good at it. And that's a very, very admirable trait, quality, characteristic. But because he is so good at everything, he just automatically assumes that everybody should be, could be, and does tend to forget that about people and me. So sometimes we'll go to do a project and
well, we're treading into some rough waters here. I don't know if I have a life jacket.
No.
Where are we going here, babe?
No, this is good. I'm just saying sometimes we because the difference and yet we're compatible. We'll go to do a project, and I have learned over 18 years that before I even
anthill. I just saved my wife from an anthill.
I did see it, but I do appreciate the warning. Before we start a project, because I know that his expectation is, because he knows how he wants to do it, therefore I should, because it's common sense. Nope, not always. So I'll say, okay, before we start, what's my job? What's my role? What am I doing? And then that works out really well. So
this video took a vicious turn, guys. I was going to talk about...
Vicious?
Not vicious like in a bad way, but just like, I guess, wicked. Took a wicked turn. Not wicked. Not in... All right, guys. This video took a left turn there that I wasn't quite ready for. I thought we were going to talk about me joining the military. But
we are. Go ahead, babe. You joined the military. Go ahead.
All right. So here we are. I'm a farm boy, and I really haven't left the farm that much. And, you know, I had a driver's license. I would drive, but not that far because my truck would break down a lot. And there was really just nothing going on in the area of Virginia where I was at, unless you were either a farmer. And by farmer, I mean like 1,000 acres or so that you can make a living on. We only had a couple hundred acres, and I already told you we didn't make a very good living on that. Or a waterman. And a waterman is someone that goes out on the water and they catch shellfish, whether it's crabs or clams, or I don't think we had shrimp, or they caught fish in gill nets, and they'd sell them, and people would make a living doing that. But well, that's not something that we did. We fished for recreation and to eat, but we didn't do it to make a livelihood out of it. So I didn't have a lot of options, I guess is what I'm saying. And I wasn't really prepped for college coming out of high school like a lot of folks were. Like a lot of my friends, you know, I had friends that were doctors' sons and pharmacists' sons, you know, educated, whatever, people that made a heck of a lot more money than us because we didn't make any. And they were all prepped to go to college. And in fact, I didn't even really know what SATs were. So my friends were like prepping for SAT, and this is a true story. I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know what a SAT was. I didn't know why you would take one. And so the morning of the SAT, my friends are going down the hallway, and I'm like, where are y'all going? Oh, we're going to take the SAT. So I was like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing today. Well, they were all prepped for it, and I wasn't. I sat down. I didn't do bad. I don't think I would have got into an Ivy League college or anything. But I didn't have a bad score, but my whole point of that is I wasn't prepped, and my family wasn't prepped for a higher education, and so I didn't have a lot of options, at least none that were planned for me. My dad and my mom, they worked hard. You saw that if you watched the 1940s video. Deb's kind of trying to walk in fast, trying to get out of the focus here. But they worked really hard, and so there just wasn't a lot of options. So I decided that, or thought about joining the military. And I figured I didn't want to get shot at. So I really didn't want to join the Army or the Marines. So I was like, oh, you know, what does every young kid want to do? What does every young kid want to do? I'm going to go fly jets, man. I'm going to join the Air Force and fly jets. But here's this just in, folks. Not everybody in the Air Force flies jets. It is a very small percentage. And I thought, you know, I drive tractors, I drive cars. I'm go in the Air Force and they're going to teach me how to fly jets. Way more complicated than that. You got to be way smarter than me to fly jets. So anyway, I joined the Air Force. But my story behind that is that I had never flown on a plane before, at least not that I remember. I don't think we did. We didn't take family vacations and fly anywhere. So I had to fly to what's called the MEP station, and that's the Military Entrance Processing Station. And so I drove like an hour or two to a small airport, jumped on a little plane, a little puddle jumper type of plane, and then flew to Baltimore, Maryland. In Baltimore, Maryland, I mean, I know it's a big deal now and it's in the news. I don't think it was as crime-ridden as it is now, but it's a big city and it's kind of scary for a country boy. So I went to, my wife's laughing at me. So I went to Baltimore and in processed for the military, like right out of high school. Let's call it June of 1985. Going over a tree here. And then I flew to that MEP station. I guess I passed. They gave you a bunch of shots, a bunch of physicals. I guess I spent the night. I don't remember. And I flew home and I had what's called a delayed enlistment. So delayed enlistment means, oh, you're in the military, but you're not in the military yet. So from June till September, I knew I was going in the military, but I needed to do something. So I just worked on different farms in Virginia till I joined the military. So that gets me up to joining the military. I'm not going to go any further because Deb's been kind of quiet. So let's switch over to Deb. So at this point, Deb, you graduated high school. We talked about the fact your parents were your dad was in the Air Force, your mom worked for the Air Force, and what happened after that?
Well, I've said it before. My story is pretty typical and pretty uneventful. I graduated high school. My parents were still here. My dad was in the military still, but he was prepping to retire. And I went to our local community college.
Where was local?
Local Panama City, Florida.
Oh, okay. You were in Panama City at the time. Okay. See, I don't know a lot about her, so I'm learning while y'all are.
That's so sad. You do know that. So,
Maybe I forget a lot.
So I did that and was actually studying to be a teacher.
What?
I guess you didn't know.
Do tell.
I was studying I wanted to be an elementary teacher.
That would fit her.
It would. I love kids and animals. I was studying to be a teacher. I was going through the process through internships and I ended up getting married.
Not to me.
Not to him, to my first husband. And then that all got kind of put on the wayside for that moment in time. And I don't want to jump too far ahead, but unlike Brad, I had children earlier than he did. So then I had a baby come along and it delayed my schooling, which I later went back to. But my first initial gut thing was to be a teacher. I didn't do that, but I'm grateful that I didn't do that because I got a taste of it, and I think teachers are amazing and wonderful and underappreciated and overworked. So
like farmers,
right? So the good Lord took me down a path that I work with technology instead of children, but I have children and grandchildren. But anyway, so that's kind of, my story. I married younger. I had kids younger. Everything he did when he joined the service, we had done growing up, the traveling, and as we talked about before. So I didn't feel like I was missing anything in that respect. But again, just not.
Is she picking things off of me?
I am picking things off him. He's got twigs on him.
Better than ticks.
Yeah, much better than ticks. So yeah, like I said, my young adult life was much different than his.
Okay, so I joined the military at 17 years old, and we met when I was in my 30s. So at what age did you get married?
I got married.
Was it a shotgun wedding?
No, not it was not a shotgun wedding, but I got married at 20.
Got married at 20, okay. So we're not going to mention names or anything, but you had two daughters.
I did.
Within, 2 years of each other? How old, what's their age difference?
4 years.
See, I know so much about this lady. All right.
Just because he's not nosy, he doesn't ask, and we just assume, we picked up from when we got together, we picked up from that point on. And so I have two children. I have, my oldest daughter is in her early 30s, and my baby just turned 30. And we have 3 grandchildren, and then we have several step-grandchildren as well. So we now get the fun of grandparenting. But we watched 2 of our grandkids last night, filled them full of pizza and chocolate cupcakes and some soda.
And send them home at 11 o'clock. Here you
Send
go.
them home at 11 o'clock.
Wind them up and let them go.
Yep. And our youngest is will be 4 here pretty soon. And they came to pick him up at 11 o'clock last night, and he was still raring to go.
You lose your dog?
Yep.
All right, guys. We actually put the camera on a tripod, but we got Deb up until, I guess we got her all the way up until she was an adult, and then we'll, I guess, in later videos talk about how we met. That's a pretty interesting story. But yeah, so I joined the military. I was in delayed enlistment. I came in 1985, and then went to San Antonio for basic training for 6 weeks. And I don't remember a lot about that. Not that I'm blocking it internally or anything. It's just that I just don't remember a lot about it. I remember being sad because I was away from home. And because, like I said, I hadn't been anywhere, and I remember not liking being bossed around by people. And that's what the military does. They break you down, they deprogram you, because you're around people from all walks of life, not just country boys from Virginia. There's boys from the city, there's gals from the country, just all over, right? And there might even be some immigrants as well. So there's this. It's just a hodgepodge of people that join the military, and they got to mold you into one cohesive team. So they break you down, open bays. I remember some things about getting in trouble. We bought a radio. We weren't supposed to have a radio. So our, I guess our drill instructor, he found out we had a radio. I was a squad leader at the time, and he fired me. So I wasn't a squad leader for very long. But you get through that 6 weeks, and that 6 weeks literally feels like an eternity. I know that I didn't enjoy it. I think you don't get a phone call right away. You might get a phone call to let your folks know that you made it there, but you don't get to talk to them. It might have been 1 or 2 minutes everybody got. But after that, you're just on your own. And for someone that came from the country, lived on the same patch of land from 6 years old to 17 years old, it was a rude awakening. It was an introduction to the world, introduction to diversity, introduction to adversity. And then that began to shape me going forward differently than, say, the farm life. And we'll get into more of that later. We would like to talk just a little bit about what's upcoming. We got 7 years. 5 years ago, we bought this property with the intent that we had 7 years to get it ready for when we officially leave our corporate jobs with the Department of Defense and then come out here and live on the property full time. And it's unbelievable to me that it's been 5 years. I feel like all we've done is work, and I don't know that we've made 5 years worth of progress. Everything you see around here is stuff that we did or had other people do for us, but it just moves so slowly. And the fact that we only have 2 years left, I almost feel like we're in a rush. So I say that to say this: there'll be a lot more projects coming in 2023. We're going to hopefully finish and closing the pole barn. We're going to do a lot of electricity, lighting type of things in the pole barn, get my dad's shed squared away. We want to get our mega shed cleared out and get that spray foamed. We've been talking about that for 2 years now, if not 3 years. So we want to get that done. We want to do some driveway work. We want to do some gravel work. We have, once again, we did this last year in a video series. Well, why don't you tell them, what are we going to do this winter on our vacation, our use or lose leave from the Department of Defense? Deb, what is it that we're going to do?
Well, every year we live it up. And every year we choose a project that we're going to do, and it takes the entire time that we're off. Year before last, we did the front fence. Last year, we did the west fence. So would anybody care to guess what we're going to do this year? That's right. We're doing the south side fencing. We're going to tear it down and then redo it. So I've been told by someone that it won't take as long as it did last time. But those are famous last words. It won't take that long. So we'll see. But it does need to be done. And fencing isn't that bad.
Well, the west fence, we had to tear down the old fence. There was a lot of big trees growing up in there. We had to set all the fence posts. On the south fence, it's going to be longer, but the T-posts are already there. We've already spent the time clearing on our side, so we should be able to pull off that rusty wire using our tractor and our excavator, smooth out in between the T-posts that are there, and then roll the wire. Is it going to be a 4-hour job? No. Is it going to be a 10-day job like the one last winter? I don't think so. I think we can knock. I don't think so.
He didn't say no though.
It could be 10 days. I don't know. But I think maybe 3 or 4 days, we should have that knocked out. It's much easier when you don't have to put in the post and stuff. So that's going to be upcoming, as well as the other things that I mentioned. So lots of projects coming up in 2023. So hopefully you guys will tune in for them. Also, leave us comments down below. You know, we're trying to do this shed talk. Let us know if you like this type of format, this kind of walk and talk, this off the cuff type of thing. A lot of our videos are highly produced by Miss Piney Grove here. So they start out as 1.5 hours long, and she truncates them down to like 10 minutes and music and all that. But this is just more freewheeling. So let us know if you'd like to see more of this, if you prefer more of the production type videos. Do you want to see Miss Piney Grove out here more, like on the excavator and tractor? Because I sure would. It's just really hard for us to get together with our jobs to be out here at the same time. But I'm going to leave the parting words to Deb. I feel like I've talked a lot during this 20 minutes or so. So Deb, take it away.
Well, first off, we want to thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. We started this 1.5 years ago or so, wanting just to share our dream and share what we were doing with you. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you following. We appreciate your comments. Like Brad said, let us know. Got questions? Ask away. I mean, got things you want to see? Ask away. But since we are pushing the Christmas season, we do hope you and your families have an amazing, blessed, and wonderful holiday season. We hope you're safe. We hope you're able to gather with family and enjoy them. And we look forward to hearing from you this time of year and next year as well. Take care and God bless.
Happy New Year, guys. Take care out there.
Happy New Year.
Look at Deb carrying a tripod.
There are other tripods, but this is my tripod, and I shall love it, and I shall take it for walks.
Deb taking her tripod for a walk. That's actually kind of funny.